Welcome back to Blue Collar Strength. My name is Jammer. I'm going to be your host today. I am the working man's personal trainer. That's right. I'm getting it done for the electrician. I'm getting it done for the plumber. I'm getting it done for the stay-at-home mom. I'm cutting through all the garbage, all the hype, all the BS you hear from outside sources, the internet, magazines, books, and I am cutting through that stuff just to bring you the facts in real layman's language so that you can reach your goals in the quickest and fastest time possible. And today, in this series, Principles of Progress, we are going to be talking about rep ranges. Rep ranges, how it affects muscle growth, what is the optimal rep range that you should be doing depending on your goals, okay? The first thing we need to understand is how a muscle works, okay? And I'm not going into all the biomechanics and physiology and how a muscle works. I'm going to simplify this and explain to you what is the size principle, okay? Size principle. The size principle basically states, okay, and others are the ones who discovered this and written this down, okay, but I'm giving it to you today so that you can understand more about how your body works, okay, and that you can use that to your advantage, okay. The size principle basically states that in order to do a task, the body is going to use the smallest and weakest muscle fibers first, and then eventually recruit the larger, stronger muscle fibers. So if you go down to pick up a quarter off the ground, your body is going to use as few fibers as possible to achieve that task. Okay, the other ones are going to relax. The body wants to survive. It is incredibly efficient, and it is not going to waste energy using muscle fibers that it doesn't need to. Now, if you go down to pick up or deadlift 315 pounds, your body is going to start with those small muscle fibers and then go up the chain and recruit as many muscle fibers as is needed to perform the task at hand. Now, if you can do 315 for, let's say, 5 reps, your body will use the minimum amount possible on the first rep. Okay, but somewhere in between the first rep and the second rep, okay, fibers will fatigue, and so certain fibers will have dropped out and new muscle fibers will have taken their place. That process will continue until the 5th rep, when you have no new fresh muscle fibers and all the other fibers are exhausted. Okay, the same principle applies if you do 1 rep. Okay, now with 1 rep, your body, if you're doing a 1 rep max, is going to recruit all the muscle fibers needed to do that rep. So hopefully you can set that new PR and find success. Okay, but the problem with just doing 1 rep is that it is such a short event, okay, that it doesn't stimulate the body enough to cause a long-term adaptation, okay? It's not under stress long enough, okay, to cause significant muscle growth. Think of the time when you had to lift something heavy and just budget a few inches. It was probably all you could to move that engine block, to move that old cast iron stove, to move that piano a few inches. Whatever it was, okay, it required all that you had, but it wasn't enough time under tension, as we discussed in a previous video, okay, to really cause any significant adaptation. To your body, it was a one-time event, okay? Now if we go to the other end of the spectrum, let's say beyond 20 reps, what happens is you don't cause any significant muscle growth once you get beyond 20 reps, because it becomes a cardiovascular task, okay? Your muscle isn't using very many fibers, okay, to perform that task. So Your body, when it reaches failure, it's because of the energy systems within your muscle that run out. Okay, you run out of gas. Okay, but you didn't need to use a very big engine to perform the task. Okay, so that is why if you look at long distance runners' legs, okay, their muscles are very small. Okay, what runners and long distance athletes have done is improve their cardiovascular health. Many of them have lost muscle mass because it was a waste. It was more muscle than their body required to perform the task at hand. All right, your body is very efficient and it is going to adapt to the specific task. All right, so we covered one end of the spectrum, the single rep, and we covered the high reps. But between there is a lot of room, okay? And we need to understand what is going to be optimal to reach our goals. Well, in order to do that, you must set aside any preconceived notions that you may have heard, and I'm going to lay the 411 on you, okay? What I'm going to tell you is that all other things equal, being equal, a big muscle is a strong muscle. Okay, there is no difference. Okay, if you have big muscles, you are strong. This debate has been going on between powerlifters and bodybuilders. Sure, with a bodybuilder, there are times when they may appear to be bigger because they're cut and they're lean and all of this. They're usually just more developed. Powerlifters don't spend a lot of time working on their shoulders, working on their arms, working on their calves, working on their obliques, okay? So a bodybuilder is going to definitely be more lumpy. But he is not weak. If you watch some of these videos of these guys, you will see them toss around some really heavy iron for reps. You'll even, like in the case of Ronnie Coleman, see the occasional bodybuilder who does heavy singles. Okay? On the other hand, you will look at some powerlifters and you will not find a powerlifter who squats 800 pounds and benches 500 pounds who is small. He may have a layer of fat covering his body, but he has huge muscular development. Okay? And that is because in order to lift a heavy weight, your muscles need to be big. Okay? The bigger your muscles are, the stronger you'll be. Okay? So whether your goal is to lift as much weight as possible or simply take up as much space as possible, your goals are one in the same. And as a little caveat, I'm going to tell you the reason that powerlifters can bench more and squat more and deadlift more is because they have trained their body to be so proficient at that rep range in that movement that they excel at it. Okay? They have practiced that move for years. Their central nervous system is so efficient that while it may seem like they're lifting more weight, okay, due to their size, okay, it's all about how they have practiced for that specific skill. If you took a bodybuilder, okay, and you train him for 10, 12 weeks, 2 years to power lift, he will be incredibly strong because he has the muscle base. He just needs to develop the technical proficiency at performing that lift. Okay? Bodybuilders in general try to make their lifts as difficult as possible. They want to do as much muscle stimulation as they can. A power lifter, on the other hand, he is trying to make that lift as easy as possible. So he uses as little energy and can devote that energy to using more and more weight. So, hey Luke, I hope you catch this one. So, if you want to lift weight, lift big weights, or you simply want to take up as much room in the room as possible, you need big muscles. Okay, so if you're a power lifter, when you're getting ready in your off season, you want to devote the majority of your time to muscular hypertrophy. Okay, and it doesn't matter. Okay, forget all about this fast twitch, slow twitch nonsense. Okay, first of all, powerlifting is not a speed sport. Okay, vertical jumping is a speed sport. But when you go down to a max depth squat, okay, that is not a power sport. Okay, here's the thing. If you were to take 1 inch of metal pipe, okay, and stuff that full of red slow twitch fibers, that 1 inch diameter pipe, okay, would be able to, those muscles in that pipe, lift the same amount as a 1 inch pipe full of fast twitch muscle fibers. The only difference is it would take more red slow twitch fibers to fill that pipe up. Okay? Take up the same amount of room, but they'd be equally as strong. Okay? So it doesn't matter, okay, if you have a certain mix of fast or slow twitch muscle fibers. Okay? You can use any fibers to lift a load. Okay? So push all that red, fast twitch, slow twitch business out of your head and just focus on getting big. And if you get big, you will get strong. Okay? So, how do we do that? What rep range is best? Well, we know there's a top end, as we talked about earlier. There's that 20 rep range. Now, for some muscles, 20 reps may be too much. They might be pushing, or let's go back. For some exercises, 20 reps may be too much because it's going to start tasking in our cardiovascular system. Okay? So, for example, if you do 20 rep squats, chances are you're going to pass out from cardiovascular exhaustion and not muscular fatigue. Now, on the other hand, if you do 20 reps of leg extension, okay, you're going to feel a burn and get a pump, and it won't be taxing your cardiovascular system in nearly the same way a squat would. Okay, and it would go for the same thing. Let's talk about shoulders. 20 reps, okay, and we're going to call 20 reps the cap, okay? 20 reps doing side laterals is not going to bring you into cardiovascular fatigue like 20 reps of a military press would, okay? So if we're talking about isolation exercises, okay, I'm going to put a 20 rep cap on it, okay? If we're talking about compound movements, I'm going to put a 12 to 15 rep cap on it. Okay? And the reason for this is that 10 to 15 reps, up to 20 with your isolation exercises, is going to give you the maximum amount of time under tension. Okay? And your muscles respond and grow to the more time under tension they are put under, okay? Because muscles grow by volume, okay? And volume is basically sets times reps times weight, okay? That's oversimplifying it, but sets times reps times weight, as long as you're challenging yourself, the more sets, more reps, more weight you can do, the more volume you're going to do, the more you're going to grow, okay? But don't just chase after volume, okay? What you want to do is make sure you can recover, okay? You need to be able to recover. If you go beyond the point that you recover, you're going to take additional time off, and you're going to actually do less volume in the same time period, okay? So what you want to do, if you're trying to gain as much muscle as possible, is stay in that 10 to 15 rep range, okay, for your compound movements, and then for your single joint movements, bicep curls, tricep extensions, calf extensions, push that envelope, okay, to 10 to 20 reps. Okay, you can have days when you go a little heavier, and you can have days when you go a little lighter. Okay, but what you want to do is keep that time under tension as high as possible to promote as much hypertrophy as possible. And if you're a power lifter, what you're going to be using is periodization, and you're going to do a period where you build muscle mass, and then you're going to follow that with a peaking period where you train that new muscle mass to become proficient at the movement. Okay? So that's my advice for you guys today. Keep the time and tension as high as possible. Stay away from extremely low reps, okay, unless you're powerlifting and preparing for a meet, okay, and build that muscle as fast as possible. Thank you for joining me here today. Once again, this is Blue Collar Strength. My name is Jammer. If you like what you heard today and you think it's helped you out, give me a like, subscribe to my YouTube page, go over and like our Facebook page, Blue Collar Strength, and make sure to check out my blog, bluecollarstrengthblog.com, and you will find lots of information in a more coherent form on the written page where you will be able to further educate yourself and take leaps and bounds in your progress ahead of your opponents in competition. And just remember this, there's no sleep till Brooklyn.